Bye, Desi.
That mutes my volume too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No.
I was thinking that I could make the picture go away so that y'all don't have to look at, it helps you fit more in.
It doesn't work that way. But I can see, I have the big shared screen right now. I was messing with the settings. Oh no, I screwed it up. I was messing with the settings, and yeah. So I have the big shared screen as central, but then I can see all 6 of you up at the top, including myself.
Hold on. I am currently recording, just to let you all know. I pressed the record button. You are currently being recorded. We'll stop recording at the end and we can say whatever we want. Pause. Okay. I am no longer sharing my screen for the welcome screen. I'm going to share something else. So
I'm still seeing the welcome screen.
you're still seeing it? It's supposed to pause.
Okay. Maybe it just takes a second. Hey.
Oh, there was your face.
Big Carrie.
Big Carrie. No, don't.
No, big Andrea.
Don't.
Now it's just
Big Carrie. Again, thank you for attending this meeting. I really kind of wanted to have a little impromptu party with cookies and cocoa and get to talk to everybody and catch up toward the end of the semester. And once most other meetings got canceled and most people couldn't make it anyway, this will work just as well with a video meeting. And a big dog. First things first is to go through and just say hey and how your semester's going. I know we're close to the end. How did it go? We've got some new faculty. This is their first semester. So I'd like them to just, if they feel comfortable, sharing a little bit about how their semester went. Zach, you're the first person I see in my order, so Zach gets to go first.
Okay. Hey, everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I made the mistake of sort of having a lot of the grades due at the end of the year, which isn't as good, I guess, for the early college, high school students, because what they really want is a report by early November so that they can drop everybody. I had one girl drop who just didn't want to do the work, but I had the other 13 stay in, and they're actually they hadn't. I had assigned a final paper originally, but it turns out they haven't even learned how to do a quote sandwich with the quote in the middle and the opening paragraph, introduce the quote, explain the quote, conclude the paragraph. They haven't even learned that or a thesis statement. So I offered an alternative final assignment where they could do study questions. So that's sort of helping them double count to sort of study for the test, triple count really, study for the test, do their final assignment a different way. That's a little bit, it's not easier. It's actually longer, but it's not a paper that's sort of just a little bit technically too complicated for them. And also, if they turn it in early, they get a little bit extra credit. So I think actually most of them are going to be able to rally because the study questions. So I was nervous to see how the study questions would look, but they're coming in now and they're looking pretty good. So I'm pretty optimistic.
Awesome. Yeah, I think all of us had a final paper our first semester in, a big one. And we have a different mix of students back when I first started. But I have my students do just an outline for their final paper and an annotated bibliography, and they didn't know how to do an outline.
Yeah.
They didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to structure their thoughts before they write a paper. So there's a learning curve, I think, for all our students. I see Sarah next.
Okay. We're having a lot of fun. We're finally in the information age, so they got to see some videos and matrix clips and stuff. They're still struggling, and most of them are barely passing. I don't know how, after so many times doing the test and them failing and them going, oh, I should have done the test, and going back and doing it, they still failed to turn their test in, even with reminders. So I don't really know what to do. It's like when they walk out of the class, they just forget the class exists, essentially, But I'm giving them every chance that they can to catch up, and we're going to do the assessment in class just to make sure they take care of that, and they also get a small grade. It's a little bit smaller than the other tests for it. So I mean, behavior wise, they're doing really, really well. I'm the two of my problem students dropped, so that was nice. I didn't have to even say anything. And they seem into it for the most part, as much as they're into anything. But yeah, it continues to be a struggle. I don't know if y'all read the email that I sent out, but basically they're just so completely overloaded, and they don't understand that they're supposed to be prioritizing their college classes over, their high school grades that nobody's going to look at. So they're like, yeah, we just literally don't have time to do the homework for this class because they're making us watch all these video lectures at home in our college prep classes, quote unquote, which essentially it sounds like what that means is the teacher doesn't teach and they just like send them home with a bunch of stuff, and they basically don't really have much of a culture of the classroom where they're discussing. So something's got to give with all that. And, Grant had offered to have us have a group meeting, and I think we need to really like make sure that happens before the next semester so that we're all, maybe I'll be gone in early January, but maybe like mid-January would be a good time to try to get that going.
Yeah, I think I just reached out to Zach Denton about the Harmony Public Charter School that we're just adding on as dual credit, and they don't have anybody enrolled yet. So, but like I said, Lanier's new. The people at that Zach has over at Eastview were new. First semester with us, not their first semester in this early college high school program. So we really do need to look at what our strengths and weaknesses are and what recurring problems that we're seeing, whether they're behavioral or preparation, and then have a plan for that. So your email had a lot of good stuff in it. There's a lot of things we can require of them, but a lot of things we can't require of them. So good stuff. I see Carrie next. I see Carrie as a big black box next.
This is my goth stage. I'm exploring
Yes.
like emo.
You're totally black.
I'm totally nailing it, right?
Yes.
Hi, by the way, to new people I haven't met yet. I'm sorry you can't see my face. I lack the technological savvy to do anything about that right now, but eventually I'll see you in person to chat. Semester has been really, really good. I'm only at Round Rock ECHS. I have found the turnover in leadership there to be a little jarring in that the people coming in are not as apt to communication as Cynthia Johns was. But the students are doing fine. Zach, in response to your conversation about essays, I have found spending 1301 and the first portion of 1302 kind of building all of those skills through minutia has helped. Like I do online discussions for each module, like one for each module, where I teach them how to embed direct quotes and then cite their sources underneath. So they're practicing how to construct those elements of a reference page or bibliography. They're working through small steps toward embedding quotes. They should also be getting that in their ELA courses at the high school because they'll be tested on that for STAR ESC. That doesn't mean they're really getting it. And a lot of them will start getting it like in March, but by then they're going to be like, hey, you taught me how to do what my English teacher is trying to teach us how to do. But it's small scale, so it's not a monster mistake when they make it, which helps. The other thing I have found is that they are taking advantage, I will say humbly, of the idea that they can take their tests at home. So Sarah, I have switched to all timed in-class assessments. They're still through Blackboard for the immediacy of the feedback because I like that, and I like them getting used to the online system for that. I don't like them sharing with each other, and I'm finding my lowest performing students are getting the highest test grades because they are supporting each other in that process. So I'm just going to take that option out of their hands and dedicate a class to it, which I don't love, but it's only really like 3 times during the semester. So we'll do the first one of those on Monday and see how that plays out. They'll have to know the information. I will say they have to know the information and the structure of the online course room a lot better to do well on it in that environment. So I think I'll get a better feel for what they're really taking away rather than how quote unquote resourceful they can be. And then I'm looking forward to seeing what they do on the written portion. of the end of course assessment next week. They've practiced a lot of expressing their understanding. So I'm really curious to see how much of that will translate to what they submit. So, but it's been a really great semester. No major complaints or concerns for me. They're high school kids. They're doing what I would expect.
Yeah, Round Rock's usually I have a Round Rock early college high school this semester too, and they're a really good bunch of kids.
Yeah.
One or two that aren't on the program that just come
Yes.
in like, I had stuff, but for the majority, they're very good.
Yes.
All right, awesome. I like your suggestion about minutia and slowly working in those skills in other ways to where it's low risk. And I think that might be the magic bullet to all this, is small, low risk introduction to these bigger concepts.
Yeah, I'm nodding.
Yeah. All right, I see Andrea, and I will unmute Andrea. Hello, Andrea.
Mute. There you go. Okay. Hi, how's it going? Yeah, I think that I kind of echo what everyone else has been saying, that particularly my two early college classes in Elgin have been, they've been good. They're really eager for the most part. And I mean, I would say a good half of them are doing really well and like kind of took on the challenges that were put in front of them. And I'm really, impressed with that. But I think I was a little unprepared for how I needed to walk them through a lot of the, how to study, how to write. I did 3 essays, small essays, one for each unit. And the first one that I assigned, they had 3 options, but they were more research-based, and they were just so ill-prepared for that. I mean, some of the essays I got were really concerning. Things like not including complete sentences, not including verbs, finite verbs. So I had to do this whole half of a class and kind of walk them through how to express their thoughts more effectively, which, knowing that now, if I do something similar in the future, I'll, start a little bit before, I think would be more beneficial for them. But I ended up, then the next 2 essays were a little bit lower key. One was a movie reaction paper where they had to talk about historical accuracy and things like that, which I think took the pressure off a little bit and didn't make them so nervous about having to research and include citations on such a significant level. And I got better results there. And the next one's they have to pretend that they're museum guides and pick 5 pieces of art and explain them. And so I think that they seem really eager about that one too. So hopefully I'll be in good shape on that, but we'll see. I did include a rewrite policy, which I think is helpful, because then when I, went through and corrected their grammar, I got a good amount that went back through, made those corrections and resubmitted for a better grade. So hopefully that's teaching them. But as I said, again, I'll front load that stuff rather than waiting until I see the catastrophic mistakes to try to get that in line. But overall, I think it's been really good. I think the differences between the early college and then the traditional students that I have at Cypress Creek is pretty pronounced. Although I think eagerness level and kind of enjoyment of discussion and the material is probably equal. So again, I'm just going to have to think about ways to get them ready for it and all that good stuff. But Maynard, I talked to the principal a couple of days ago, and she seems really on top of it. She does, I think, meetings with them every week, and she asked me to send reports every 3 weeks about how they're doing. So I have a feeling that the Maynard kids might be, at least, no, okay. Well, I don't know.
Desi address that.
Okay, I'll wait to hear feedback. But I was at least, I felt as if there was more structure there, but maybe not. I mean, I did hear from the Elgin people here and there, and I sent them reports. And I finally did get, I think, 8 or 9 to drop that were just, between the 2 classes, that were just, past the point of no return. And so now I probably have 5 or 6 in both classes, not independently, but, over the 2 classes that I'm concerned about. But beyond that, I've seen some really impressive students. So, and I've had fun with it. It's been a good time. So.
All right, thank you. Desi, can you enlighten us on things in Maynard-ish area and other stuff?
Hi. Yeah, Maynard's better. It's much
Better.
better. Jay's not here, is he?
No.
He's not the teaching at Manor. Yeah, we can get in the building, we can park. The principal there is really great. The people there are great. I mean, it's Sarah's subbed there for me a couple of times, so she's been able to see how, like, the way that the administration and the system is set up is better. The students, I really feel like we just need smaller classes, because my early class that's smaller, they're much more manageable. Did somebody just show up?
Jean just showed up.
Oh, hi, Jean. And then my second class that's pretty full, crowded with kids, there's like over 25. It's terrible. And I kind of want to say I miss they're not, I mean, I love the kids. They're not terrible kids. They just don't behave. They're very loud. And yeah, that makes me miss Round Rock. And in Round Rock, you tend to get smaller classes. I don't know what class sizes you guys are dealing with right now, but I don't remember having more than 20 kids at Round Rock any time I've taught there. So I think that might help with a lot of our issues, is just reducing class size. I've started a document I haven't shared with you guys yet because my sister got married on Sunday. Yay! Now all my sisters are married. Well, all my dad's daughters, finally. So I've kind of been involved in that. So I'll be sharing a document with with the department, where we can start to put what we want to take to that meeting about early college, high school. I think that we have problems, but this is it's a new program for us, but also for the administrators at the ISDs. And they're still trying to figure out what they want to do and how they want to run it. And I feel like of all the schools I've worked in, Round Rock has it the most together, but even Round Rock has had problems. I had a really big issue with Round Rock with Cynthia Johns when I was working there, that I felt like was just things went really terribly wrong. So I think we need protocols, and we need to get come together as a department and figure all this stuff out. And I think once we do all that, it'll be much better, the whole early college, high school. So I'm glad that it came up. I think it's called for, and I feel optimistic that once we start, now that we're addressing these issues, it might not be by the spring. It would be great if it was, but I do think that we'll make it, that we will be able to create improvements, as we've already seen with Manor.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say there is a conversation going on the side, and it's a good conversation about what is supposed to be preparing these early college, high school students for their college courses is the EDCU 1300 course, which the quality of that course varies. I've heard some good things about it. I've heard some bad things about it. So, but one of the thoughts that I shared and things that we're getting on board with is substituting our 1301 Great Questions seminar for their EDCU 1300 to get them reading, to get them thinking critically, to get them writing in a college way that a lot of the standard, this is how you manage time, this is how people manage stress, that won't, that hopefully we can work on as we grow our Great Questions program, work on getting that worked into our early college, high school program, so we can prep them the way that we want them, the way that.
I'm really excited about that because I'm considering getting teacher certified. I've been talking to some of the principals about how that would work.
Yeah.
If I could teach the EDUC and humanities, it would help me fill up my day and get a full-time job doing more early college, high school than actual high school classes, and I could see that as a good career move for me. So
I have a little bit of information about that. It's really hard to get those EDUC classes. Like, they are extremely competitive over there, and they really follow the hierarchy. And I mean, I don't know how it would work for you, but I've just heard from some people that are in that department, and it's really vicious.
They have a highest priority to hire for the high school. So if I were an employee at the high school, I could get it just for that high school, and that could help. I'm not really sure if it would, but if you are a high school teacher, you can. I couldn't get it in general, but any EDUC at that high school, I could possibly get HPH. Does that make sense? But
Yeah.
thanks for letting me know about how competitive it is. It's good.
It
to,
is.
It's good to go in with eyes open.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that department. All right, so Jean joined us a little late. Jean, we're just sharing our highs and lows from the semester, how it's been going, and sort of chit-chatting back and forth. We don't really get a chance to do that as a department, and that should be what these meetings are about. So would you like to share your semester briefly?
My semester's been a pretty good semester, like as far as teaching goes. I've had 2 good humanities classes and 1 good radio, TV, film class. I've especially really enjoyed seeing how the Great Questions seminar works with students. And it's been fun to have the Mexican American Studies class have a bunch of students in it, and be able to like do that online is a little bit, I don't know. I still miss seeing them face to face, but there's such great engagement and retention that I can live with it, because I'm still getting out of it like the conversation and stuff. It's just not face to face. So yeah, my biggest challenges have just been that like I don't have good work-life management balance right now, but that has nothing necessarily to do with how my classes are doing. So yeah, classes are good. I don't have any early college high school.
Yeah. How does that feel?
Oh, one thing about that though that I will mention, and I did not chime into that really big long email, but I did read it. I do know that not just because of, but in parallel to my absolutely worst class from hell I've ever had in 20 years of teaching college at Elgin, that Stephen Clifton shared with me there, like in addition to the other stuff that the students are supposed to get, this PowerPoint and like workshop day PowerPoint that they go over with the students about this is a college class when you're in college. I mean, it's a really good PowerPoint. Like he's like, I would love your input on any of this. And I basically had one thing for him to add. So my point on that is that students can be led to water, like horses can be led to water, but they can't be forced to drink it. So it's about giving them more information or about reminding them that they're in college. They've been told 1,000 times they're in college. Like our job, I think, is frustrating because even though they've been told that, that doesn't mean anything to them. Like it just doesn't mean anything to them. And the note too in that thread about them not doing their classwork for college because they're focused on 80 other things is actually like someone should be listening to that and saying, then they shouldn't be taking college classes. Right? So those were my 2 thoughts on that I didn't chime in on email but I wanted at least you guys to be aware of that there is, I can ask Stephen to share that PowerPoint. And I know it's not across all the early college high school that they get that, but a lot of anyone that has Stephen like in their world gets this workshop with them ahead of taking the course. So
if he can get that from him and we can share it with our early college high school faculty, then we can make that day one of, hey, this is blah, 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 blah. And
well, my concern, so 2 things on that. My concern is 1, that's cool if it's an only early college high school class.
But not if it's not.
If it's not. One of the things that I talked with the counselors at Elgin about, and actually also at Crockett, Carrie, and I don't know if anyone else is at Crockett, but I know you are.
Yeah.
They are really fighting. It was my understanding, at least, that what they really want is a 50-50 at most 50 school percent to 50 college, so that those kids are balanced and or overwhelmed by the college kids, not the other way around. So I also think that that's a goal administratively that needs to be addressed.
So I was talking with Grant, and they are changing the way that they are enrolling early college high school students starting, I believe, in the fall. It did not happen in the spring. They will be enrolled before enrollment ever opens up. And I do believe some of the threshold numbers have been shifted to give traditional students more of a chance to get into those classes. And then when the class opens up, it's just automatic. When regular student sees, it's not going to have a mark on it that says this is an early college high school class for only these students. It will open up on July 1st. All of our early college high school classes will be open immediately if it's a blended class.
And do you know what the cap of high school will be?
That is per high school. Like, there is no ACC number. Now, that is something we can advocate for, and that's something that Desi went to a focus group on.
To advocate for
50%, yes. I think we've all had that experience that when the high school students outnumber the traditional students, that the classroom climate changes, and that the traditional students, they're going to stop taking our classes. So that's one of the reasons there was that shift, because there was a lot of pushback that traditional students couldn't find their own classes that weren't filled with high school students. So thank you for sharing. That is very awesome. So other than sharing, which is a great thing that I think we need to do more often, by the way, in person with drinks, but that's fine, is to go over the assessment. And is everybody, I sent instructions, is everybody clear on how to load the assessment? Do you guys want to look at the assessment? Do you want to talk about the assessment? Does anyone have questions on how to deliver the assessment?
Zach has his hand up.
Yes, Zach. Hold on, let me unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself? Hold on.
There we go.
Yes, there, Zach. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I had a couple questions. So I have a file that you set up for me at the beginning of the semester with the it's the one with like the multiple choice, the list one, and they did the first one, and then I have the other one is like muted. I'd like to switch it. I'd like to have the one they've already done muted. Okay. And then get the new one active, and I couldn't quite figure out how to do that.
Let me share my screen real quick, and I can show you how that works.
All right.
I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
What do you see? Okay. Move that, sorry. So, let's go. Christmas is coming as my internet loads. All right. Sorry, it's recording, so it's slowing my whole computer down. So bear with me. Okay, so say I want to turn this assessment off. Can you see that, Zach?
Yep.
So edit test options.
Okay.
Not edit the test, because that's the test content. This is just the test option. This is where you can change the instructions. Hold on, scroll down. Make link available, no. This is also where you can make sure that you've clicked forced completion, and that should be 30 minutes. And change the time if you need to. I had that set for a student with special needs. So.
Well, what are the times for both tests?
We haven't agreed on a test time. Again, I have SAS students which need additional time, so I do some exceptions for them. The 4 questions on the assessment test shouldn't take longer than about 30 minutes. Do you guys all agree that that's about a standard amount of time? We don't want them considering, like, if they don't know, they don't know. And we don't want them to have time to research every answer. And 30 minutes is not enough time to research every answer. Does that make sense? It was set at 120 minutes, I think, initially, because it included the essay as well. And now the essay has been broken out. So I think just the 4 multiple choice questions. Do you guys think 30 minutes is a good time?
Carrie, I have several English language learners,
Yeah.
second language speakers. Can we give a little bit longer than that if we wanted to, like maybe 45 minutes?
You think 45 is a good I think that's a good split the difference. I mean, I still don't think that that it's too much time to research every answer. I don't think anyone's going to research every answer.
Right. Well, and if they do that, they'll get wound up in the one and forget to do the other three.
Yeah.
I just did mine yesterday, and
Uh-huh.
most of my students were able to finish it within 30 minutes, but I had a few who needed the whole 45.
For the essay or for the multiple choice?
Just the essay, the multiple choice, most of them finished that in 30 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess it's somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes. I think if we, again, with some student accessibility issues, you may have another. So Zach, did you see how you can, like, it's all within edit. So I turned it off now and it says item not available. Can you see that? And then the other one is available. So you can make the first one not available and then do the same thing for the second one.
For student accessibility, I usually create a folder and put exams in there, and I just don't put any time limit on it at all.
You've mentioned that before, and I keep forgetting that. That's a really good idea. I do exceptions by student.
Every now and then, I'll get a student who shouldn't take their test in there, and I just look
the wrong test. Yeah.
But usually they don't, because it's a folder, and it says, if you do not have an SAS letter with me, don't even touch this folder.
Yeah. So for the essay prompt, it's the same thing. Did your essay prompt get loaded? Did everyone get their essay prompt loaded?
I still have to watch the video on that.
Do you want me to show you how to do it real quick, right, since we're here? Or do you want to just watch the video I made? It's up
Whatever
to
everybody else wants.
Go ahead and do it. It's that you're here, and it's probably easier than having to watch a video.
All right. So I need to find my folder. Hold on. El momentito. Okay, so there's a ton of them in there. Never mind. All right, so I got lots of folders. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go into your course, Zach, and you're going to go into course tools, and you're going to scroll down to tests, surveys, and pools. So I sent you a folder in that email, right? And you download that folder and save it to wherever you save it. You save it to your desktop, you save it to a folder, wherever you save folders, you download. So it's a zip folder, you're not gonna need to open it. So go to tests. Go to tests.
Zach, are you working on an Apple machine?
Yes.
You will not be able to do this the same way Carrie showed in the
Then
video.
how do you do it?
I have a Mac, and I was able to do it. What happened? Is it Carrie with a C that said that? What happened? Do you know?
Yeah, it wouldn't let me keep the file zipped. It kept unpacking it, and then I couldn't upload it.
I didn't have that problem, but it's good to know, I guess.
It should say
Zach,
both.
let us know what happens with you.
You should
Okay.
see both the zip and the unzipped, even if it automatically unzips.
Yeah, my zip was disappearing, but this is a brand new machine I was working on too, like literally the last model of whatever it is. I found when I went to the school and just did it on the computers at Round Rock, Carrie's directions were perfect and I could do it no problem.
Yeah, I have the same issue. I've got a Mac. I had to just do it on campus. But
Well, I think that the recording, or either ACC is not wanting to answer this question, or the recording is slowing me down. So it's just spinning. What I was going to show you how to do is import the test there. So you have to import it from your desktop into your tests to have it available to deliver in your, let's see if I can do anything. Now it's just spinning. Does anyone else can share their screen if their computer's working? My computer doesn't want to. So to add an assessment, let's just skip to the part about adding the assessments that you have the folder. You just go to assessments, test. And then you can select from your list. I've got a lot of things in my list, but the last thing you loaded is the last thing that'll be here. So
Where did you get that assessments link?
oh, here, I'll go back one. So build content, and right next to build content is
Okay.
assessments.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So assessments, test, create test.
I think I got it, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just scroll down to whatever it is you want to add.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then for due dates, does it matter when it's done by?
It doesn't, it just when you want them to do it. I gave my students until the end, to the last day, just because I wanted to give them time, but I told them if they finished everything early, then I would give them their final grade,
Okay.
whenever they finished everything. So I think that's just your choice.
Just give yourself time to grade the essays. Are we talking about that in this meeting? Okay.
So just again to look at the new essay prompt. Again, I gave 45 minutes because that just seemed like enough time. They're not researching, they're not doing anything. They're pulling something out of their head and they're crafting two to three very simple paragraphs about it. So I've already had 4 or 5 students already complete this. They didn't go into a whole lot of detail, but this is not supposed to be a whole lot of detail because it is what they can just know in their mind. So the rubric for this is very, very simple. Sorry. And it is student identified 2 significant works of art and contextualize them within their culture, demonstrating an understanding of the course material. They either did that or they didn't. They either sort of did some of that or they didn't do that at all. Same thing for how they've influenced modern culture. This is for 1302. They either did it, they kind of did it, or they didn't do it at all. So it shouldn't take very long to grade each essay. You are looking at it at a very basic level. Did they get it done? Did they kind of get it done, or did they not do it at all? So does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have questions on that?
No, I'm good.
I have a question.
Yes.
This isn't part of the grade for my course, but I should still grade it at some point.
I need you to grade it, and I will tell you why. Thank you, Zach. This is not required that you do it for a grade. I made it 10 points extra credit to encourage people to do it because we'd like to get as much data as we can on this. This is for SACS, our credentialing body. I also give make the post-course assessment worth some, which is also something for credentialing. You don't have to require that they be graded, that they count towards your course, but we do need this information to track how our students are doing for our governing body. They don't care about our grades or anything like that. They want this kind of data. In a survey class, they want a content survey. And for writing skills for this year, they want us to somehow measure how these students are writing and understanding and thinking. So what you do when you grade this is the next step, and that is in our Humanities Collective Share Drive. We have a team drive found under your Google email address.
Before we get into that, Desi wanted to see the entirety of the prompt, if you don't mind.
Oh, the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not seeing comments anymore because my screen is open.
Okay, so it looks pretty similar to the one for 1301.
It's exactly the same.
Okay.
The only thing I changed was Renaissance to modern day.
I'd like to say one thing about the rubric because I've started grading them yesterday, and this is just a feeling. It's more of a feeling than a question or anything else. I feel like I want one more column.
Sure.
A column of nice effort, but you failed.
Well, this is not trying to make them feel better. And I think that the middle column is nice effort, but you failed. We need
So
to,
then
this is about
I feel like-
skill only. Did they?
Then I feel like I want a column that's like you did really well, but you didn't completely nail it.
But isn't
One
that
of
the middle column?
Huh?
Isn't that the middle column?
Well, no, I feel like either the middle column is nice effort, but no, or you did well, but not complete. I feel like maybe something that's worth 2-point-something points I have some students that are just doing almost there, but not quite.
Like a D, basically, rather
Yeah,
than
like we
F.
have 0, then we have 1-point-something, and then we have 3. Maybe I want a 2, maybe make the 1 point a little closer to 1 than 2.
You can also custom add points, right?
That's just a feeling I have. It's like nothing.
We all have to use the same rubric.
It's nothing that needs to be done about or anything for now. I'm just kind of letting y'all know because I know that this is still a work in progress and maybe other people will feel differently or some other people will feel the same thing when they're trying to grade. So I'm just putting that out there for now.
So like Sarah was saying, like if you feel like it is not this full 10, that it was a 9.7 or it was an 8.4 or it was a 6.3. Like if you feel like that, you can add that point in there, and I don't think it's going to throw off our data.
I have done that with one. So yeah, that's good to know. Just a feeling that I feel like that 4 columns would make 4 columns would suit my grading style a little better. That's all.
Okay. I'd have to think about how that number would hash out. What does anyone else think about a 4th column? And what would it be? Like an emerging column. You're talking about an emerging column.
Jean says she's also in favor of a 4th column.
Basically what we have now is excellent to CD. And we need a BC.
But this isn't, again, this is not grades.
I understand that, but I think in our brains when we grade, we want the ability to mark excellence as excellence and not drop all the way to C.
Down.
Right?
Yeah.
To drop all the way to hey, you did it, kinda. There's also you did a good job, but you didn't nail it. You did a good job, but it's better than you didn't do all of it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I get it.
I understand that they don't even need to see this grade. We aren't, but when we're looking at it, I agree that excellent to you didn't do it all. There is a middle ground there that's you did hit every point, but it's not excellent. And if we could just be here we are, these are our 3 options, and the 0 is you didn't do it.
Okay,
right?
So if we were to rework this and we had proficient and then competent and then emerging and novice, that is my
excellent, because that's really proficient is excellent here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it is completely proficient in the skill. They showed mastery of the skill.
Right. So I would label that column excellent and create a proficient column that is between competent and excellent. That would be how I would see it. And other people can totally think about what that would be, but to me, that I agree with Desi, and I'm having the same issue with the Great Questions rubrics, that it's I'm doing a lot of they're between these two.
Yeah. Most of my rubrics have 4. I have an emerging. My proficient is excellent. That's where this came from, was my thought process. I have a proficient, a competent, an emerging, and a novice. So.
And I'm okay with that too.
In my competent, it's like an A, a B, a C, and a DF, sort of. So, okay. We won't change anything this semester since this has already been rolled out and we've already started to use it. But that is under advisement. Again, this is a rolling thing. We can change whatever we want, whenever we want, however we feel about it. So let's see how things work out this semester. And then the assessment committee will meet again after we get the data in. And we will see about making those changes. Because I run on a 4-point rubric as well. So does everyone agree that they see sort of a need for that? Or do you just want to get into it? See how you feel.
Agrees.
So,
Carrie, can I ask a question?
yes.
For the prompt, how come it says Q1 and then there's like are those 3 parts to the question? They're supposed to answer all 3 parts to Q1 on the prompt itself, or is there a Q2 that you have to scroll down for?
There is, Q1 is describing at least 2 culturally significant works. Q2 is cultural context within these works, and Q3 is describe these works of art. I think it still says Q4 in there because we had combined questions on, just as we're on the rubric. It should be 1, 2, 3.
Well, how come it says question 1 at the top is what I'm wondering.
What do you mean what happened to question 1 at the top?
Why does it say question 1 at the
He's
top?
talking about the way that Blackboard labels it. If you go back to the test, to the prompt, see where it says question 1? That's just Blackboard.
That's just Blackboard automatically does that. I built a question in Blackboard and it called it question 1.
So that they can just pick one of those 3 to answer?
No. All of that is part of
All
question.
right, so they answer all of it. Okay. All right.
If you read it, they're nested inside each other. It's picking 2 significant works of art and describing that cultural context and then talking about how it contributed to modern society.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, Blackboard just calls it question 1. Sorry, that makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, so what do we do with all of this stuff that we are collecting? So you grade your essays, and in Blackboard, you have these scores, both a pre and a post score for your content survey, and then you will have an essay score. Now, if you go to this Humanities Collective Share Drive, you will see an assessment folder. And in that assessment folder, you will see Humanities Student Success Assessment Tracking, 2017 through 2019. It is a spreadsheet in which we gather data and from your classes, and I take that data and crunch it and summarize it and put it somewhere else. So let me move your, if you look, waiting for the cache, still loading, sorry. I'm recording and it is killing my computer. Bear with me.
Carrie, could you sing us a little song while we wait?
While it's, there it goes. So you'll see I have fall 1301 content survey results. I have essay 1301 results. It's working, it's thinking. I've got 1302 content survey results, and I've got 1302 essay results with an extra S just for SAS. So I have an extra S just for SAS in all of them because I copied and pasted them. You will list for class ID, so like an example, KCECHS, we would like a distinction between an ECHS and a traditional class. So I have an ECHS class at Round Rock. So I've got Carrie ECHS Round Rock. The more information I can get it, the better. And then your essay score. So I had a 10 from this student and I had a 9 from that student. So because you're not doing a comparison of before and after, then I just need something to identify you and your class, again, campus, and whether or not it's early college, high school, or online, or traditional lecture. And then I do all of the math and all of the summaries. So I just need you to load your scores.
But what about the ones where I have like one traditional student and everybody else is early college?
It's majority early college, high school class, then that's early college, high school, and we'll be able to see sometimes who the traditional student is. So like my Round Rock class is all early college, high school. You can put ECHS mix if you want to distinguish that, and that's fine. It's just if the majority of the class is early college, high school, then it's kind of, that's how it had been identified in the past. So whatever the lion's share of it is. So does that make sense? And then for this, like after all of the test scores are done, you need to be able to list both one person's pre-test and one person's post-test. So again, I would have KP, ECHS, RR, And then I would put their pre-test score and their post-test score. You don't have to worry about the rest of the math. I have formulas to do all the rest of that math, so don't worry about it. So when it comes to our content surveys, we are looking for improvement from pre to post-test. We are looking for trends in early college high schools pre-test and whether they catch up by the post-test. We're looking at early college high school pre-tests in general. How prepared are they? What is their level of knowledge? And then same thing for our online students and our traditional students. What do they come in knowing? What do they leave knowing? Does that make sense? All I need from you guys is to deliver the tests and to give me what the scores are. That's it. Everything else gets done.
Is it still the case that if someone only takes the pre-test or someone only takes the post-test, we don't put them in?
Yes. You can put them in and I'll take them out. Like if you just want to copy and paste your Blackboard stuff and you don't want to take the time to put in yeses or nos or whatever, if someone's got a 0 because they didn't take it or someone took it and made a 0, I don't care about those distinctions. It's a 0, it doesn't work for it throws off our entire numbers. So if someone did not take the pre-test, I don't care about their post-test. And if someone took the pre-test and not the post-test, their pre-test score is meaningless. So without a direct comparison between the two.
I have Okay. I have some students like for the essay that'll be like, I don't know how to answer this. So they're technically writing something, but it's a 0,
They don't know how to answer a work of art? Because I don't think we could have made that question any simpler.
I mean, I'm not talking about for the civilizations one, but they haven't taken this one yet. But yeah.
No, they're both works of art.
No, I know. All I'm saying is that what if somebody says that? What if they just cop out?
No, then they will. And if their answer is, I don't know how to answer this, and it is marked as a 0 and you post it as a 0, for the essays, I want to see that. We need to know if at the end of the semester they are still unable to do that.
Right, that's what.
Willing to do that.
So maybe we should put, if you want to report that they did not take it, we could put NA.
Yeah.
So they didn't even attempt it.
Yeah.
But if they attempted it and failed, we put in a 0.
Yeah. I think
Does that make sense?
Does that sound right to everybody? For the essay, I'm talking about the essay.
For the essay, for the test, if it's a 0, leave it out.
Yeah. I mean, for the content survey without 2 comparisons, it doesn't do me any good. Like if they didn't take it at the beginning and they killed it at the end, that doesn't give us any data. If they did great in the beginning and they didn't take it the second time and it's a 0, that's going to throw off our data. So it's less meaningful. So for content surveys, I want a pre and a post. Someone that took the pre-test, I care about their post-test score. If they didn't take it, I don't care. For this, but for essays, Sarah's right. We should list everybody for essays. The score is 1 through 10, or 0 through 10. And if they wrote, I can't answer this, then we need to list that. Like if they didn't do it at all, you're right, that's an NA. But if they wrote, I can't do this, then that is a 0. Does that make sense to everybody? I can't see everybody's head.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it makes sense. And I've got a couple of in so many words, I can't do this, and more words than that, but I got a little bit of that too with the pre.
With just the pre, with the multiple choice, and you could guess and still figure out.
No, with the essay.
Oh,
I
was
did
an essay on the pre. You talking in the past?
Yeah, in the past.
Okay. Yes. In the beginning, I don't think they should be, which is why it made more sense to us to try to test the skill at the end. Because they should have had an entire semester of college level reading, thinking, writing, hopefully something to that level.
Do these grades need to be in by that Wednesday, or can they be in?
Oh no, I'm pretty forgiving about this. I will crunch the data probably not until January, so don't worry about it.
That being said, it's really convenient once you've just finished submitting grades to just pop over and do it, and so you don't have to worry about it. So I definitely recommend it. It does not take very much time. it takes like 20 minutes,
I appreciate all of your hard work. I appreciate you doing these content surveys and doing these essay surveys and grading them. It is, again, a requirement of our credentialing body of SACS, of the Texas General Education Standards. It is something that we kind of have to do, but we do it very well. As I shared our report last year on how we're doing it, we got a very good on our report for the efforts that we put into trying to measure student comprehension and success in our courses. So we are almost a model for some people on how rigorously we work on fixing this when it doesn't work. And all we need is more data. So as we add professors and we add classes, we're going to get even more data. So if we want to make some changes and ask for resources for things like our early college high school students, we need to be able to show them data that says all of our early high school students come in unprepared. These students, dog. Now that's my dog. Sorry. These students catch up. So it is I have seen in the data that the early college high school students come in way less prepared than our online students or any other students, but a majority of them are catching up. So that means that we are doing an amazing job at helping those students catch up, the ones that can. So thank you for your efforts in this as I ask you to do more. So any other questions about that? Does anyone have any questions about how to access this? Like, everyone should, it's under your team drive. So team drives in your Google Drive for ACC, and then Humanities Collective stuff. There was a conversation going on in the chat, which I hadn't looked at in a minute, but it was about adding our assignments and stuff here. This is where we can share information, assignments and ideas, and stuff on the Great Questions Seminar, our master syllabi, which we are getting ready to edit and revise. So be looking for that before next semester. So don't start creating your syllabus until you hear from me. I will be updating the master syllabi as part of a ACC overhaul. So any other?
We want to, on the topic of the syllabi, I think it would be good for us to have a conversation maybe over email about what we want to have on there specifically for our early college high school, because if we want to be able to drop them or we want to justify why we're giving them certain, drops in grades, like Desi has a really good demerit system for her students. It needs to be very clearly outlined what our policy is in that syllabi or syllabus, and everybody can edit that for themselves, but it would be nice to have some general language that's specific to.
The general language that's in it now is the general language from the ACC Master Syllabus website. And that we have to keep. So anything that you want to add, if we want to have an early college high school task force, which I think is something that's been suggested numerous times, that we talked about having, I think we need to sort of create that task force and come up with special language that you feel like needs to be added to that. Where'd it go?
I'd be happy to be on the task force.
Hold on, this is the old one. Anyway, it's not updated yet. So the majority of the language that's in it right now is from the ACC website. So yes, I think that if there's anything specific we want to have about our policies, that we would need to agree with them as a department. So about dropping students.
I'll work there on that.
Yes and no, Carrie.
Huh?
So here's the thing is, professors have the discretion to set a withdrawal policy as long as it is not in conflict with the ACC policy. It needs to be clearly stated. So that's what Grant was getting at, right? So like I have professor addendums to all sorts of stuff in my syllabus. As long as it's not in conflict with the spirit and or letter, depending on if there's a letter of the law, we can have, and the withdrawal policy, if in any course, should be consistent, right, across course says. Like, it should be something that we expect of college students in general if we're applying it to the ECHS. We just might need to make it more explicit, right? Like, we might need to say, my professor addendum is, after X number of things, students get dropped. It should be something that's reasonable for every college student to meet that can be applied fairly to high school. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah.
Totally. The other thing about it, though, is that it's kind of recommended that we first approach the liaison to do the dropping.
Yes.
Because we don't want them to feel cut out, and if they have a chance to actually intervene with the students, sometimes that does make a difference. Some of my F students went to a C. I mean, not a huge jump, but at least they were passing. Now they're back down to Fs, but whatever. You know, and that means kind of as Zach was talking about, that we need to kind of do early grade reporting, which is a pain in the butt, but what it does is it allows them to start having those counseling conversations a lot earlier with them. But I think Desi mentioned that she had sent in, please drop these students, and they didn't do it in time. So if you notice by the drop date that they have not done it, then I think at that point, at your discretion, you know, it's a good idea to do it. But
it's ultimately a student right to stay in the course unless you've explicitly said that you're not going to offer them that right.
Sure, but if you say in the syllabus that you're not.
Say to them, your professor thinks you should drop, and it's still their right to stay in the course. Legally.
I don't have anything in my syllabus that says that I'll drop you if you're failing. It just says that I'll drop you if you exceed a certain number of demerits. And I think I don't have that in my online classes, but I could add that. I don't really have any problems, but if there's ever anyone in the discussion forums just being awful, I'd like to be able to drop them. So I think it's a good thing to have.
So are your demerits behavioral?
It's for participation. So if you're behaving in a way that's distracting, you can get a demerit, but you can also get a demerit if you just did a crappy job on your worksheet that we did in class.
So they're punitive demerits based on behavior and participation?
Right. You can get away with 2, and then on the 3rd one, your grade starts dropping, and on the 5th one, we talk about dropping you from the class. If it's disruptive behavior that's making the class environment something that is making everybody suffer, making it hard for me to teach.
Yeah, I had recommended that Crockett drop a lot of students because they were not going to pass, and only 2 of them out of the 13 got dropped. So
there's also, and I'm pretty sure that this is the case, that W counts towards their 6, correct?
Yes.
Lifetime.
Yes.
So I also feel very strongly about respecting that, like, that's why I feel very strongly about not just having a blanket withdrawal policy. Like, sometimes the F, while it's a headache on some level, it's no different to us at the end of the day if they get a W or an F. It can affect them quite differently.
Yeah.
On the other end about that, though.
Sorry, were you going, Sarah? Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say it can also affect maybe their desire to continue to go in college. Like if they got Fs early on, maybe they thought I'm not college material, when it really was probably a maturity level issue. So maybe the W might be better for them in the long run. So I think there's pros and cons in both ways.
I want to talk about this not in the sense of what we should be doing, but kind of what's happening on an administrative level. At Round Rock, they tell us that they want these reports because they have a policy that they will drop them if they're failing.
Yes.
And my big issue with them was surrounding that. It's a long story, so I won't go into it, but they were not consistent with that policy. So we're supposed to report to them, and then they deal with the students. And at Maynard High School, the principal told me she wanted to enforce that same policy, that she would drop the failing kids. And so I reported to the liaisons, and I don't know what happened. The loop never got closed back to me, so I don't know if they even talked to the kids about it. And so what I'm feeling is the procedure, I think it needs some work, and maybe we'll resolve this one as we move forward with dealing with early college, high school expectations and policies. But I feel bad that I went to the advisor and just didn't go directly to my students. And I think there's a lot of other, we could go on for this longer, but those are just two examples of how this is a little bit messier with the ECHS.
Why aren't you going to your students?
I'm going to the advisor, and then the advisor
Why
goes
aren't
through
you going
them.
to your students about their lack of participation and the fact that they could be failing? Are you letting them know in an early alert system that they are missing work and that they are at risk for failure?
I'm letting their advisors know.
So they never let them know? Because I'm not sure how much they understand how the grading system works in college. And so there's sort of a knowledge gap in that.
I talk to them as a class. I show them their grades. I give them all the advice I can, but I don't, my typical, without the intervention with the advisors, I would normally just go straight to my students.
Yeah.
I'm going through the advisors. I'd prefer to cut out the advisors and go straight to my students based on my experience with the advisors so far.
You should be treating.
But not every student has the choice to fail, and I've had a discussion with the counselor about that too. At Round Rock, they don't let them choose to fail.
But Desi, I think what Carrie's getting at, and I would agree, if it's a situation in which you would normally go to a student, you should also go to the student, not just report to the advisor. Like the advisor should be there to help you. And this is, again, please don't take this the wrong way. Like, this is how, if we're treating them like they're a college student and you would normally go to them and say, hey, or an early alert system like Carrie uses, like, hey, have you checked? Do you understand that you're failing? I do both, because I report to the advisor because I want support from the advisor, but I also treat them like every other student in my class. And if it's somewhere where I would tell them, hey, have you figured out that you're failing? I say it to them too. And are you saying that you don't, that you just skip to the advisor?
This semester, that's the way it went. It depends. Usually there's only 2 or 3, but right now I've got like 20 of them. And it took me a whole afternoon to build up my report. And once that was done, I didn't have the time to go to each individual student. And then the advisor told me to give them time to deal with my students. So I did that before I started talking to them about dropping, and things just got really chaotic and messed up. So instead I made it a talk to my whole class. I showed them the grades. I told them to look at their grades in Blackboard. I told them, if you have this many points, then you probably should drop my class. I kind of made it a general discussion. But usually
that works.
I do, usually I do with both, but it takes a lot of extra time, as someone pointed out, and when they don't cap our classes and we end up with a lot of students that are on this list, I wasn't able to make the time. I wasn't able to manage my time. So in some semesters I might be able to, but this one I wasn't. And I think others end up in a similar problem.
Yeah, that makes total sense, Desi.
It's hard to talk to ECHS students one-on-one because they got to catch a bus after class.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely a
And
communication issue.
That's also true. You've asked them to stay after class. They either have to catch a bus or get to another class, and they don't check their email.
No, they do not.
they don't.
I put your current grade column in my grade book. And then when I go to class that day, I said, hey, I just listed your current grade as a letter grade. They lack the ability to do math. I say your current grade is this. It will remain this. It will get worse if you stop, if you don't do work. So this is definitely something that we need to table for a task force. We have a lot of very early college, high school specific issues and frustrations, I know. And I will try to get that together, a meeting together for us, maybe at the beginning of the year. So did Lillian join us and then disappear? Is that Black Spot Lillian? All right. I wanted to come over a few more things and not keep you too much longer. The summer schedule is going to need to be done pretty rapidly. I know it feels like we just finished the spring schedule, but it is already time for summer. I will usually, again, we start the schedule basically historically. There is one online class open for grabs. There are 6 lecture classes currently open for grabs in both the first summer session and then I think one in I think it's 3 in the first summer session and 3 in the second summer session. So,
Is there a link to that?
oh yeah, it's actually ACC course schedule. Just Google. I mean, I could send you the link, but this is
Yeah, I mind sending the link. I tried to do that, and it was only showing me the spring for some reason.
No, you have to, here, I'll show you. So here is, this is the current credit term. This is spring. You have to go to future terms down here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then humanities.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. And then, like I said, there's 2 at Highland. There's a Riverside. There's an Elgin. Another Highland. Another Elgin. I've got first summer session online. Patty's got second summer session online. And then there's a 1302 online that I think historically is Jean. Correct? Sarah, I don't know what your travel schedule is. I don't know what Desi's travel schedule is this summer. So
I would like an online if I can. I would prefer summer too, because if I'm doing the Avid at Maine, the middle school, I don't know when it ends. It might overlap with when the summer session begins.
Okay. So again, look at the schedule, and we can do some horse trading again. Historically is where the schedule usually starts. What have we been doing and has it been working? And if your availability has changed, please send me an email and we will get a system worked out. There's, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 classes. So at this time, there may be more. I don't know if any of our new school districts that have added on are going to do summer bridge programs. So we need to stay tuned for that as well. Yes, Jean.
Oh, no, I was going to say, can you go back? Like, here's my concern. If I say I need distance learning, does that screw Desi? Are there enough for me?
There are limited spots.
There's limited summer classes anyway, but there's 3 second session courses that Desi can choose from, and there's 3 first session courses.
So me saying I really need distance learning leaves still distance learning for other people.
There's 1 distance learning right now, as of right now.
So if I say I'm taking that,
then there is no distance learning.
If you take that, then that does mean that no one else can have it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just for that semester, right?
No. This is
for the entire semester.
Okay.
For the entire summer.
I don't really have any travel plans currently for the summer, so I'm fine with seating my online.
Okay. You historically were
last year I did the Elgin and then the Highland back to back.
Yeah.
Which I thought was going to be horrible, but I actually really enjoyed. So I'd be happy to do that.
There's an hour break in there now. As I was saying, if Desi needs summer session 2, then that might be to her, and we may shift you over to summer session 1. Zach or Andrea or Lillian, if she's still there, or Carrie, anyone else interested in summer classes, there will be some available. Okay, the summer load is max 2. So.
Yeah, summer session 2 would be ideal.
Okay. So send me everything that you think that would be perfect for you, and I will do that magic thing I do where I make it all work magically. So I just put everybody's things in there and we shift it all around. It turns out in most cases our needs align pretty well. So, all right. The only other thing on the agenda today was to talk about our Great Questions update. We are have Sarah and Zach both teaching Great Questions, adding to our grant team in the spring. And we will be adding even more classes. I know that several of you signed up for the next trainings that are happening next semester. Desiree, you're signed up for training, Great Questions training?
Yes, I am.
Great. and I know Patty is, and I think Andrea, did you do it already?
Yeah, I'm on the.
You're on the list. Okay, Carrie, I will get yours fixed. That is egregious oversight, and I think a miscommunication, because as humanities faculty, you are automatically vetted to teach great questions. So we will get that fixed. I think that there must be a miscommunication or a breakdown somewhere. So I'm sorry that happened, but I will get it fixed. Toot sweet.
Lovely.
All right, we will add you as a chair on the end of the table next semester if you've got the time. I will get that working. All right. Does anyone else have anything? I have to pee. Nothing? Nobody?
Nope. All good.
You're all good? All right.
Y'all.
Who's going to Don Becker's holiday party next week?
We are.
Yay! Anybody else?
No, my in-laws are coming in that day.
Oh,
so.
I am sorry. My condolences. Seems like that is what is due. All right. All right. If you have questions, comments, concerns, issues, again, we'll work on an early college high school task force. I will get you some revisions. This video, if I ever get it rendered, will be posted to YouTube, and I will send you the link. And other than that, have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I think that's it. That's gone. All right. Bye, Sarah. Bye, Desi. Oh, look, the last two standing. We started it, we ended it.
Yes, we were the first ones here, we're the last ones out.
All right. I got to turn this off now because my computer's about to die.
Okay.
Bye, girls. I'll talk to you soon.